Okay guys, we're going to tie into the vent. This vent is going down to a washer and dryer and goes all the way to the roof. So what we're going to do is create a wet vent. We're going to put this T in right here, right where it sets. Actually, I have a screw down here. That's the correct height in the other room. So we're going to try to get it right in that area. So we have to cut this out. I'm going to go ahead and just cut it out with a multi-tool. We have a lot of stack on the roof, so if I have to push it up a little, I can, which I think will probably be the easiest. Make one cut, slide it up, and put it in. We're going to use, obviously, our primer and our glue. So we'll do that in a second. But we're going to go ahead first and start making our cut. Now I want to see exactly, I would like the center of this, because you generally go center to center, to be where that screw is. So, it's giving me a fairly good idea of where I want to mark. Right about. Okay. Hard to see that upside down, so let's see where that's going to put me. Put me there, right about there. So we're going to try to make as square of a cut as we can. Now, if you notice, this pipe is already leaning. So it's going to be probably a little bit of a battle to get it straight and get it in there, but we're going to see what it does after it cuts. So let's go ahead and start that. That is totally cut free right there. And let's see. Yep, and we can go up and place our pipe. So I'm going to take the pipe first. Let's see, we need to. I'm going to have to kind of get an idea of where. About there. Mark that. That puts a pretty much dead center of our screw there that we placed. Right there, so we're going to need to cut that out first. Alright, so now we are going to take our hole saw, 1.5 inches, and cut this out. I would suggest anytime you're working with glues and primers and things that you wear some type of gloves, just keep it off your hands. You don't want to be absorbing in through your skin, just your largest organ in your body. Now let's prime everything up. And if I had a little more room, I would probably deburr that a little better, but I think it's going to be fine. So we're just going to start like that. Your primer, by the way, if you're not familiar with it, the purple primer starts a chemical reaction with the plastic. It starts actually kind of pre-melting it, so it melts with the glue. It does a pretty awesome job. Okay, we're going to get this on there, and then we want to take and turn it just a little, just like that, and you just kind of hold it in place for about 30 seconds or so. Make sure it doesn't push backwards a little. We are lined up perfect with that hole. And we'll put the other piece on. and just hold it. And then we'll go to the other side and we'll run our pipe in that'll go underneath the sink, and we can cut that later to the length that we actually are going to want. I'm going to leave it long for right now probably. Okay guys, we are now to the point of going ahead and running our PEX. We have our drain line roughed in and kind of pulled out. I'm going to end up cutting that to the length I want once I get my cabinet installed. We made one change overnight. Instead of doing a 24-inch cabinet, we're going to go ahead and go to a 30. That still leaves enough room for a little small mini fridge on the side, but it gives a little bit more space for that sink to move around in here and get it set exactly right. I've got one of the lines just setting here, the other one I've taken off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how I put those together. Now there are other ways to do this with PEX. You have holders that you can put in the wall that the PEX can come out and you can just attach directly to the PEX. Personally, I don't like that because people tend to turn on those, crank on them, pull, whatever. I just think they look tacky. I like having a brass or a steel nipple that comes out and that everything is attached to nice and sturdy. And all you're going to do is the piece you're going to use on the back is going to be like the shower head connection that goes into the wall. And I'll show you a close-up of that when I put everything together. So I've already got the opening cut down at the bottom where our PEX is going to come through. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the camera, walk around, and I'm going to show you what we're trying to do on the other side and give you a couple of hints and tips that might make it a little easier for you. Okay, so if you walk around the structure to the backside into the attic, they have the PEX lines right here. Now I have them. The PEX is colored red, which is usually hot, and blue, which is usually going to be cold. But do not just take that as the way that it's going to be, because they may have ran out of PEX and they may be running cold in the hot or vice versa. So what you do to help it facilitate, know which one you have, go and turn on all your hot water taps and let the hot water run and get good and hot, and then come up and feel. Like I can feel this is hot after I've done that. Then I can feel this one and it is ice cold. So I know that is definitely a hot and that's a cold. What we're going to do is we're going to cut this open, and I've already drained the lines outside. Make sure that you let the pressure out of the system. I'm going to put a bucket underneath just to make sure that if any water comes out that it doesn't end up on the ceiling. Cut it, and I'm going to put a T in, and we're going to T our PEX all the way through and then through that opening over there. So it's pretty simple. We're going to do that on hot, and we're going to do it on the blue cold. And remember, your hot line is usually going to be on the left under your sink. It's time to go ahead and cut the lines. This is the hot, this is the cold we're going to tie into, and we're going to go into the room. This is my 1/2 inch. I went ahead and just used a white. That way they know it's not going to be hot nor cold. They'll need to test if anybody's ever tying into it. But it was easier to buy and cheaper to buy one roll than trying to buy double rolls for a little bitty stretch of 10 feet that you don't really need the others. All the tools that I'm using today were bought on Amazon, and I will leave the link, including the PEX, the fittings, and the cinch rings. Now you can get regular rings. They're just little flat rings and you just crimp them, and I have the tool for that, but the cinch rings are a little bit stronger, and I prefer that, especially since I'm in an attic over the top of a whole sheetrock area. I want to make sure that there's no leak. We're going to go ahead and put the bucket underneath, and we're going to make our cut. So these are the tees that we're going to use, and I like brass. You can also get them in plastic. Bucket is underneath. We're going to use the cutters that came in our kit, and we're going to go ahead and cut the line. That way we catch that little bit of water, just like that. these on, you're going to place the cinch clamp on, place your other piece that you're cinching to on, and you're going to get your cinching tool. Now you do have two modes. Make sure you're not in cut. If you notice, I am in, leave that right there, I am in cut mode. So you have to untwist, kind of flex a little, untwist, move this around to the clamp mode, like that. Now we are in clamp. Push it in, take the little lever out. Now we're going to take this, and you got to place the ears inside, and it's a little bit awkward here with this one. I'm going to try this way. Hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. So I've got it inside now there, and we're going to cinch it, and it'll be all the way to the end, just like that, and that one should be very good, ready to go. That's the way it looks. Now these will still spin inside, that's kind of normal. Now we're going to use a better screw later to attach, but I just want to be able to test. And so we're going to place it like that. And we'll move it up a little so I can put these two on. So now we will go ahead and run the other one. Alright guys, water is on, it's tested, no drips, no leaks. Okay, so you're hot and you're cold. You want to have them somewhat even on here. We're going to use a torpedo level to level them, to get it level so it looks right in the cabinet. Right now, it's going to have to drop down. This mark over here I've got is going to be about the 6-inch mark. I like to keep them about 6 inches apart. So we're going to move this over. Before I do that, let's put the level back on. And we want it up just a little. And down right about there. And I'm just going to go ahead and use a sheetrock screw to set it, and then we'll go back and put the better screw in. Alright. Now, the thing you want to keep in mind if you're using a deck screw is a lot of these deck screws have a lot of area with no thread. So if you're using the long one, it's going to go way in to your material, and you're only going to have a couple of little threads holding it. So you're going to want to use a shorter one that doesn't have as much of that neck on it. So we're going to take it now, line this up somewhat straight. Let's see. Be very careful you don't hit your PEX line here. That. Go back and move that and get that over. So yeah, it looks a little low, which it is. It needs to come up a little higher. There we go. There it is.